or at your front door. It's not going to happen. Yeah, well, yeah, you could dial 911, and you have cell phones. In fact, all you have to do is go on one of these Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Every other video is a confrontation between John Q. Public and a police officer, whether it's at the side of the road. Everybody activates their cameras. There's a million videos like that out there. So I don't think it's against the law for you to turn on your camera or to call 911. And chances are
I'll tell you this though, if there's guns pointed at you, don't go in your pocket for yourself.
That's true. Yeah, if you have police knocking at your door, you know, not always, but sometimes where there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, is there any language that suggests at the termination of the term, if it wants to be renewed, do you have a renewable term on the lease? Sometimes they'll have a renew terms of.
Okay, so you know who has the easement. What I would do is you want to put them on notice that the easement has expired, because you don't want to be in a situation where
In writing.
5 years from now, you keep on letting them use this easement, and 5 years from now, no, it expired, because then you're going to be in a headache.
I would send a certified letter.
Correct.
Indicating that pursuant to the terms of the lease, which I have enclosed for your convenience, as you will note, the easement has expired. If you would like to negotiate an extension on the easement, if contact me to discuss same. If not, please be advised that that there is no easement,
It's
and
expired.
it's expired, and it would be trespassing if there's no easement. Well, you'd think they'd contact you.
Yeah.
That could be negotiated. I mean, right now the easement's terminated. You could renew it through negotiations, and then you could modify the terms. So you could say, yes, absolutely, you can put
I have a
restrictions.
feeling if everyone's reasonable, you shouldn't have a hard time renewing this.
I agree.
Yes.
So I would send a registered letter to make sure you put them on notice and have them sign for it, so you could show that you effectively put them on notice with a registered letter, and then the ball's in their court. Wow.
Right.
Takes full advantage of that.
And that's the problem with giving people free gas. They have a tendency to abuse it. Unfortunately, I mean that's why they don't do it. All right. So what do you say, guys? Renegotiate it, call and put them on notice and all that jazz.
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank
Really
you.
appreciate
Thank you for the
it.
call.
All right. News Radio 570 WQN. Sounds like, it's like a sauna, he said, with the steam.
A Roman bath.
Yeah. You'd be over there. You know what I mean? And you're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello.
Hello, I have a question about salaried overtime.
Overtime. Okay. Salary. Go ahead.
Yeah. So my wife, she makes about $53,000 a year, and they're forcing her to work 10 hours overtime every week.
Is she salary?
Yes,
All right.
but
So
she is not in a management position whatsoever.
all right. But
Yeah.
they determine she's salary or deemer that way.
Yes.
And you're saying she doesn't get overtime.
No.
How-
Is she?
How do you know she
Oh,
doesn't have?
Well, does
some
she have an
type of-
employment contract? Is there any kind of an employment contract? Is she part of a union? I mean, there's a
No.
number of questions you have to ask yourself.
No.
Okay.
No union.
No union, no employment contract. She's hired as salary.
Yes.
Does she manage anything?
No.
Are you positive?
I'm positive.
Well,
Really? So she shows up no different than any other employee.
Correct.
Does
She
she?
was hourly. They put her on salary, and now they're forcing her
All right.
years later.
Okay. Let me ask you this: does she hire people or fire people?
No.
well,
All right.
Ohio is an at-will employee state. If you don't have
Correct.
any protection through contract or through a union, you're free to seek another job. If she's a valued employee and she says, "I think I'm being unfair. I'm being treated unfairly," then the employer has the option to say, "Okay, what can we do to keep you happy?" And if they refuse, she has every right to walk
Leave.
away and get another job.
So
She's
no
not-
leg.
She's not an indentured servant.
Okay. All righty.
All right. Thank
Thank-
you.
Thank you.
Well, isn't that interesting? Not an indentured servant.
Yeah.
As the rest of us are, right, DeVecchio?
I certainly am, Ron.
right. Well, welcome.
I'm
to the
indentured,
club.
And I'm
Yes,
in dentures.
Yes, I am as well. Right when I go home each evening, I become an indentured servant.
That's right.
Wait a second, I screwed up there. All right, legal questions. Since I hung up on you, a couple of you guys, sorry about that. sometimes you got to be thankful that I'm not running a nuclear power plant when I do something like that. 330-729-9977 will get you through to us. You got a legal question for our attorneys tonight? Pick up the phone, give us a call. I miraculously have 3 lines open here. 330-729-9977 will get you through to us. 330-729-9977. Any legal question you have, child support, divorce, custody, DUI, estates, trusts, evictions, whatever issue you might have legally speaking, this is a place we give you that advice, point you in the right direction. Tonight we got attorney Mark DeVecchio, family law, and attorney James Melfi to answer all your questions. At 330-729-9977 will get you through to us. On the air, the Legal Show brought to you by Beatrice Kopp, as always on News Radio 570 WKBN. So let me get my system up and running here, guys, and I think I can go back and say you're on the air. Hello.
Hello?
Yes. Do you have a legal question, please?
Yes, I do. I had 2 rental properties on the south side, a duplex and a single-family home. The duplex, I evicted the tenant, and a month later, they started it on fire. It was vacant. The single-family home, they jerry-rigged the water, and I was in the process of getting it repaired through the water department. Next thing I know, the city knocks them down without no notification, no letter, no call or anything. And I'm wondering if I have any repercussions.
You actually do.
Yeah.
You have recourse. In fact, there was a case not too long ago involving a restaurant near downtown that got torn down.
Correct. And I handled one up on similar case up on Market, but I rectified it before it got to that point.
So you do have recourse. You have recourse that for not notifying you of tearing it down. And I think you have recourse against your renters for damages your damages pretty much went out the window when your buildings got destroyed.
Yeah, and I would mitigate by putting your insurance company on notice of the damage as well.
All right. Well, unfortunately, I didn't have insurance on either one due to the situation with the renters and all that. Can I contact you guys at a later date to help me out?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We could sit down and talk about it.
Yeah, Attorney Melfi has dealt with this, so it's probably a good call to make on that situation. So he does have some ramification. Callers on the line, stand by. We get ready for our headlines at 5:30. Then we come back with segment 2 till 6, The Legal Show, brought to you by Beatrice Kopp. Back after this.
Would you like to have a lasting, life-changing impact on your family and the world?
Whole point of the program is to do our best to answer your question, point you in the right direction, and to give you the best advice we can. We don't send you a bill for it. We've done it for well over, probably 35 years now. And it's all brought to you by Beatrice Kopp on News Radio 570 WQN. So if you have any legal questions, pick up the phone and give us a call, 330-729-9977. We'll get you through till 6 o'clock tonight. 330-729-9977. That's 330-729-9977. We'll get you through till 6 o'clock tonight for legal advice on News Radio 570 WQN. And we're joined tonight by attorney Mark DeVecchio, as well as attorney Melfi, who's at the firm tonight. Gentlemen, are you ready for segment number 2?
We are ready.
All right. Let's go here. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello there.
There's one.
Yeah.
What language was that? Was that English?
It was gibberish. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello, caller.
Yes. I have a question for divorce.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know someone who's is married, but the spouse has moved to overseas. She'd like to get a divorce, but she's having trouble figuring out how to do that. She can't contact her spouse who's abandoned her.
Okay. It certainly makes it more challenging. I've had these issues in the past. Understand that you're married until you're divorced, and you can't get a divorce until you get good service on your spouse. So in the event that you cannot locate your spouse, there is a way to get service. Now, if he has abandoned her, first of all, I would allege in the divorce complaint that he abandoned her and that he relocated. He now resides in Europe, and that you believe his last known address is.
Well, hang on a second. Does he live in Europe or does she live in Europe?
No, she's here. She's in the Youngstown area.
And he's in some other country?
Yeah, I think he's in France.
All right. And she has no idea how to get a hold of him on the phone.
Yeah.
No contact for 19 years.
Wow.
19 years.
She'd like to move on and get married.
You think?
Can't because
19 years is a long time to wait.
You know what, Mark? Just pause
19
for a second.
years ago,
caller.
I was still in diapers.
Just pause for a second, caller. You know what the problem with this is? The guy is a fool because for 19 years they're married. And now if there's a divorce, the settlement is going to be interesting to see. Talk about that, Mark.
Well, you're assuming that he went to France and killed it, and he's loaded, and he owns a factory, and he has a lot of assets. But what if he went there and he was a mime on the street corner, and she got a great job, and she has a lot of money, and she paid off her house in the meantime? I mean, she has exposure as well. You don't know what the circumstances will dictate. So, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. There's reciprocal exposure depending on how well they've done for themselves in the last 19 years. Her biggest expense is going to be getting service on this guy. You have to use your best efforts and due diligence to locate him. You have to find out what area of France he's in. You have to send a subpoena to utility providers. You have to send notice to family members. And then you have to prepare an affidavit telling the court exactly what you did to ascertain where this guy lives so that you could get service. If the court deems that you have done enough to try to locate him, they will allow you to serve him by publication. You then file a motion for service by publication. An ad gets run in the legal news in Mahoning County. It has to run for 6 consecutive. Don't quote me on the time frame, but it has to be a number of consecutive weeks. It costs some money based on the words, but you once you've run it for the appropriate time, you pay the Ohio Legal News. They will then send you a certificate that they've posted it and that service has been deemed effective. And then she could go forward with her divorce. All she needs to do is bring in witnesses that could corroborate and testify that they've been living separate and apart for 19 years and that they're incompatible, and she'll get a divorce.
Good. Okay.
Yeah. Where there's a will, there's a way.
It sounds to me, caller, like it would only take another 15 years to do everything Mark just said. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As I was listening to him.
The
chicken on this one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've almost reached a point where you should check obituaries and stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
has this guy gone to the great beyond? I don't get it.
What now? What has she decided all of a sudden she wants to marry someone else after all this
Oh,
time,
no.
but can't?
No. She's wanted to do this for a while, but didn't know how to do it. So I just thought I'd call the show and see what advice.
You know what? It's a good thing she should get divorced, Mark, because if she dies, he would be entitled to some of her estate and stuff.
Absolutely,
Right?
he would be entitled to all of it. I mean, as the surviving spouse, if there's no will.
Yeah, or vice versa, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of messy issues here, but I can't imagine why she let it go for 19 years.
19 years, that may be a
I wonder
record.
if he's remarried over in France. I mean, I can't imagine.
He has to be on an island somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, did he stick up a bank or something, caller? Or what?
Is he on the lam?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I
I don't
mean,
know about that.
what caused? Do you have any idea what caused him to say, "I'm done with you," and just take off like that?
Just incompatibility, and then he just abandoned her and left her lying in the wind here.
But why France? I mean, unless what is he like?
Yeah.
Baguettes or something?
Yeah, is
You're
are there
with
any
the
children
French called
involved?
les incompetents.
No children involved. No.
Okay. Well, that's a long time. So, did she ever have
Yeah.
children or anything?
No.
Yeah.
What did he do when they were married? How long were they married? How long were they together?
I think it might have been about 20 years, maybe.
I have,
No, how
I have a
long were
lot
they-
of
So 20 years
questions.
married, almost 20 years separated. That's 40 years. I mean,
Right.
yeah, how
I
old's
have a-
this guy now?
Yeah.
20 years they were together, and 20 years he's been on the
Yeah.
lam. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
What did she do
Well, I
that made him
appreciate
say, "To hell with it, I'm leaving," and he meant it?
I don't know.
Yeah.
She just asked me what legal recourse you could do, and all I could think is calling you guys. So
Well, you
have
made the
her-
right call there.
Yeah, DeVecchio can help her out in this. And here's my suggestion: go over and have her make a meatloaf and see what it tastes like. That might be the cause of why the guy left.
And you know what? I would try to find out which area in France there's, or maybe the embassy. I mean, you can't. How long could you go to a foreign country and live there? You know, I mean,
Right.
you couldn't come from France to America and just
Unless you
take
had
up residence
like a
and
dual
just
citizenship.
yeah, unless
I
they're
mean,
yeah. That I would have some questions
Right.
starting with that.
I have a lot of questions.
Right.
All right, sounds like a movie in the making. Thank you for your call. It's like I know this very debonair attorney who went back to the motherland. I think he was over there for 2 weeks, but he came back to America.
Oh God, I would still be there if I was independently wealthy. I would have my dual citizenship right now. Ron, you have no idea how different life is in Italy.
How so? Just give me a snippet.
It's not as pressured. It's more relaxed. They appreciate living. They don't live to work. They live to enjoy their life, and they work because they need a little bit of money, but it doesn't drive them. It really doesn't the way it drives us. That's
different
the biggest
philosophy.
difference. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you found it very a neat.
It was
a neat place to be.
breathtaking. I mean, here in America, you see a building that's 200 years old, and you're like, "Oh my God, that's unbelievable." You go to Italy, 200 years old, that's a new building. I mean, they were built in like 5 A.D. The Colosseum was built in Jesus's time.
Right. And I know you took your kids, Giuseppe and Vito and all the other Italian names of your kids, right?
Giovanni
Whatever.
and Luigi. Vito was my grandfather, Ron.
Okay, I'm sorry.
All
I
right,
gotta,
enough with the stereotypes because they all apply, even the bad ones. So watch what you say.
Okay, I'm going to be very careful then at this point. You hear me, Melfi?
I hear you.
Melfi, don't say a word. Be very careful.
Melfi's a Paisan.
Yeah.
He's got my back.
I don't concern myself with matters that don't concern me. Okay.
Oh, I see how it goes, Melfi. You're throwing me under the bus. I see.
Yeah, you're on your own, Ron.
Okay, thanks a lot. I knew I could count on you, Jim. All right, 542. You're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello.
Hello,
Yes,
is this me?
Yes, sir. Your question, please.
I had a revocable living trust made several years ago. Everything I own is under trust. So if I should die someday, maybe, the one that's in charge of my trust, we could, just between me and him, we could change the people that are going to get something or take names off. It wouldn't bother anybody else, right?
Well, because it's revocable, you
No,
could
didn't
change
he,
it.
Did he say irrevocable? What did you say? Irrevocable, sir?
Revocable.
Oh, revocable. Okay.
I can change it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the first thing, it's inevitable that we're all going to die. So if there are
Oh, is
things
that
that,
right?
yeah, if there's things you want to do to modify it, given that it is revocable, you could revoke it and restructure, reorganize. You could.
We
It-
don't have to go to an attorney. Just he and I can change names or something. If we
It-
want.
No,
yeah,
what,
we
what
would
I
recommend
what
you-
I would recommend you do, the attorney that drafted this trust for you, call them and tell them you want to make some changes and set up an appointment.
They're
And make,
not available anymore.
Well,
We'll
then
call another estate attorney.
call
yeah.
call our office, and we'll have numbers of estate attorneys that we could refer you to.
All right.
Have a good one.
You
All
too.
right. I think you need irrevocable when it comes to the nursing home look back, though, not revocable.
Correct.
Yeah.
You're right, Ron. But this is a completely different issue. He wants to change things. He's
Right,
not looking
no.
to protect his assets. He wants to change it, spread it around, spread the wealth, so to speak, which
But
he could do.
I hope he understands that his doesn't cover the nursing home situation. Most people, I think, well, a lot of people, I think, get a trust to avoid probate, but also to avoid the situation if you have to go into a nursing home. and losing
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're right, Ron.
everything, something along those lines. So, and now, but you gave him good advice. Go see another estate attorney and make sure that you do it the proper way. Just don't do it, sitting down at the lunch counter, right?
Absolutely. Because those people that you want to include to share the wealth, or the people that you want to exclude, you're inviting a lawsuit. You're inviting a probate case if you try to do it on your own.
Right. So I want to make sure that when I make those changes, I go with Vito and
Ron,
Giuseppe.
who are you kidding? We all know your money's buried in your backyard.
That's right. And don't you forget it.
That's
DeVecchio, I gave you the GPS coordinates.
That's right. I have them. They're burned in my memory.
That's right. When you said we all die at some point, I thought, I just wanted him to know we all do. And there's a rock and roll heaven, and there's got to be one hell of a band, Mark. Take
Yeah,
it away.
you got that, baby.
I always try to do that once a show for you, DeVecchio, just to let you know.
Oh, the Righteous Brothers. Absolutely.
You're on the air. Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Am I on?
Yes. Your question, please.
Yes. I had a good friend that he actually ended up with the COVID virus, and he went into a real deep depression.
Mm-hmm.
And now this has been, he has been in it since then. He tried to go back to work, and they gave him they told him he couldn't work. And here about 3 or 4, maybe 5 weeks ago, now he had no family. His mom and dad had passed away. And I know for a fact that he had 401ks, he had stocks, he had bonds. He had a very nice home, a very nice car, but he had absolutely no will or anything else.
You said this guy died, correct? That you're talking about?
Yes, he's going. Yeah, he had passed away. He was 69.
All right.
Oh, that's terrible.
He had a health. He had a health person that was coming in and taking care of him for a couple of months.
Right.
And she had left him, and he was by himself for 3 weeks.
And then,
Well, my wife works at a pharmacy, and he came in there, and he was just a total mess, and he had soiled himself, and it was terrible.
Poor guy.
And they took him to the hospital. He was in there I went and visited him, and he was there for a couple of days, and he got to where he could be mobile again, and he left.
All right, but without going
And,
through all of this, he's dead though.
Then
The
he
bottom-
died. Actually, what happened is home health care come in to check on him, and had passed away.
All right, but hang on a second.
He had absolutely no will or
Right. Well, but hang on
anything.
a second.
Okay.
Mark,
ahead.
I know someone this happened to, and you know what happens
What's that?
is the state takes over. I mean, basically,
Well-
they hire an attorney. I'll tell you, in the case that I'm familiar with, they hired an attorney, and this guy didn't have any children. It's a very similar situation, and they went out and they did a search for any distant relatives,
Any beneficiaries.
and they found 32 of them.
Yeah.
Distant relatives, people that were distant relatives, and they all got the estates.
That's what happens, Ron.
And then they
Hang on, caller.
like you said, Ron.
Yeah.
Exactly what you said. Now this is in Pennsylvania. They did all kind of searches to find some type of relative that was alive. Now he had over $40,000 in the bank. He had
Right. I can't get into all of this.
home.
Okay, just hang on. They did the search. They had to find some cousins or some family bloodline somewhere.
Yes, they did.
And did they?
The coroner did that.
That's who they would get the stuff based on the state, right, Mark? I mean, that would.
Yeah. If you die intestate, that's without a will. Your legacies are based on the lines of sanguinity, which, in other words, your bloodlines. So it would first look to if you had a spouse, which no, check that off. Children, no, check that off. Siblings, did he have siblings? If he had siblings, are they alive? They would stand to benefit. If they're passed on, then the siblings' children step into the shoes of the parents. So it would be nieces and nephews. And then, it would be parents, but at 69, chances are his parents are gone. Aunts, uncles, then it goes to cousins, and it extends outward. Eventually, they're probably going to find someone. If they can't, Ron, you're correct. It goes to the state.
But if they can, it goes to those people.
Correct.
All right.
This has been since September.
It
What
can
was
take
the-
years? It can take years.
What was his name?
Well, I don't want his name on the air.
What?
But yeah, but it can take years. It can take years.
Okay. Now the only thing we're concerned about is he worked for me for 3 years. He was a great guy. He was good friends with my daughters and stuff. And he was Roman Catholic. And he's sitting on a shelf at a funeral home somewhere where they cremated him.
Yeah.
And we want to give him a Christian burial. He did have $500 in his wallet that was on the counter, which the undertaker said that would cover the burial of the urinal.
Not urinal, urn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Urn.
Which is exactly where my wife said she's burying me, incidentally.
Urinal.
Yes, it's right here at the iHeart building. She said that's where my ashes are going to go.
Well, anyways, he said that he would do that for the $500, bury him with his parents in the cemetery.
Well, did they?
But we can't get anywhere with
Well, here's a novel idea. He should probably just hire an attorney to go through all this. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah.
Mark?
Well, I don't know that he would really have standing to hire an attorney. I mean, you could do it as just a good Samaritan, but you're going to pay for all that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I could be wrong. With $500, that may cover the cremation, but I don't know that it would cover the burial because you have to buy the plot. You have to, if he's entombed, I mean, that all costs money, thousands.
But
So-
if they don't, but if the state gets it, then
Well, the funeral home actually did the cremation as a favor.
all right. Well, there you go.
Well, rest in peace.
Yeah, but you want to know?
We can't get the ashes released
All right.
to have him a Christian burial
Well, I understand, but
with his parents. That's all we want to do.
Yeah, and find
I mean,
out. Find
they'll
out.
have to settle the rest of the estate.
Yeah, it'd be interesting
Whatever.
if son.
You know, there's thousands and thousands of dollars there.
All right.
Well,
thank you, my friend. Go ahead, Mark.
Ron, I think whoever is the distant relative that ends up with all the cash, maybe they should step up and do the right thing.
They usually don't, though, because it's people that have never met him who get this money. It's really strange, though. You know, there's plenty of people out there. They never get married. They never have any children. They don't put a will together. They die, and you know they leave a mess behind, and it is a mess for this. For the court's got to appoint somebody an attorney to go through all of this, the search for all of these distant relatives.
Well,
and then it can take years, and then the dole is all out.
Never getting married is a choice, and that's neither good nor bad. Neither. I was just going to say that, Ron. Having children is a choice. It's based on what your preference is, but it's just a bad decision not to do some kind of estate planning and not to have some kind of a will. I mean, you could make all the life choices you want, and they may have no negative effect or positive effect.
But if you die, then
if you have
goes
assets,
to whoever you want to leave it to.
Exactly. Especially if you have a special. I mean, if you have a friend, a neighbor, like you said, somebody close to you, somebody that's been there for you your whole life.
Whatever.
Yes, they're not going to get anything. If you want them to get it, you have to put it in writing. To
Otherwise,
protect
the state gets it.
Yes, that's accurate.
You know what I mean? And that's
and they don't deserve it.
No, they got enough.
That's
It'd be better to leave it to anybody listening to what he just said. All of you listening, I mean, pay attention. If you don't have a will, get a will, or get a trust, depending on your situation. Because if you die, you leave a mess behind. That for people that just have to, and it's a difficult mess to fix.
Yes, I agree. I mean, if you have children, your children, in all likelihood, whether you have a will or not, are going to take and share alike. But if there's something specific that you want,
get a will.
You need a will.
And one other thing, which I tell everybody listening. I don't care if it's your checking account, any bank accounts, or your 401k. Make sure you have a beneficiary on all of it. Go to the bank. Make sure you have a beneficiary on your checking account, or transfer on death on your cars. There's things you can do to avoid probate.
Right. And I really appreciate that you made me your beneficiary, Ron. Thank you for that.
Well, absolutely. I would want it no other way. You understand that?
That's absolutely right.
Because I traced your family line, your lineage, and if you did not have a will and you didn't have children, I believe all of your stuff goes to Al Pacino. I can't figure that out. But apparently, that's some lineage there or something along those lines.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
There's got to be a scent of a woman impression somewhere out there.
Well, it's coming. It's coming. Just hang in there. Yeah, you're on the air with our attorneys tonight. Hello.
Give me the coordinates.
Yeah. Hello, caller.
Hello.
Yes, your question, please.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to explain this. This is for a friend of mine. They bought a used car for his wife. It was an emergency. They had to get a car. They bought this car, right?
Okay, quickly. Don't have a lot of time.
Okay. They checked the Better Business Bureau. They had a bad record on the Better Business Bureau. Okay, this company says that they make payments to them, this company, but
warranty
they don't
company.
get a paper trail.
Well, you got to have a paper trail. There's a lot to this answer. Was there any kind of a warranty given? Did she buy it? Did the person buy a warranty?
It was as is.
Then you're out. You're out. Hey, but
you're done.
Yes, and we have to promo. Do a quick, Ron. We have to do a quick
Thank you, my
promo.
friend.
David is going to be coming. Where? 7 o'clock. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and who? And Instagram with Jacqueline Soroka. David Beatrice will be talking about the Luigi Mangione case. That was a public service announcement. I didn't mean to cut the caller short, but I got strict instructions to make that announcement.
7 o'clock.
Correct.
Tonight?
Tonight, 7 o'clock. I'm definitely going to tune into that. Very, very interesting.
I'm trying to think what's on at 7:00 tonight.
There's not like a football game or anything. There's
No,
no Notre Dame fans or Penn State fans out there.
Certainly wouldn't want to watch that.
Now, see, I did a good service by making the promo, and Ron, you set me up to.
I'm scrapping all my plans. I was planning on watching that. Why would I do such a thing now that I know Dave's going to be out talking about Luigi?
Who's no relation, by the way.
Yeah. All right, Mark. Thank you.
Thanks,
Attorney
Ron.
Melfi. Mark,
Thank
say
you,
hello
Ron.
to Vito, Giuseppe.
You got it.
And Guido, or whatever the children.
Arrivederci. Buonasera, Ron.
There you go. The Lego Show with Attorney DeVecchio and Melfi.